What is the very latest with five-star quarterback Jared Curtis and his commitment to Georgia? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. In fact, we're going to talk about that and other Georgia recruiting notes. Obviously, it's not a game week for Kirby and his staff, but it is a work week. Kirby Smart, Mike Bobo, and several other Georgia staff members were out on the recruiting trail on Friday night watching some of their top targets compete on the field, and we're going to be breaking it all down. Of course, we are going to start with Mike Bobo because he was in Nashville Friday night to watch Jared Curtis throw 6 touchdown passes against some random private school in Nashville. Doesn't matter. What matters is that Jared Curtis balled out in front of Mike Bobo, and as you're watching this, he will be taking the short drive in Nashville over to Vanderbilt to watch the Commodores take on Missouri. That has been the big news for the past 48 hours, basically. And I know Dean wrote or made a video talking about his thoughts on that. I definitely wanted to share mine from everything that I've heard over the last 24, 48 hours. Yes, Vanderbilt's doing everything they can to try to keep him home. Obviously, he is an incredible talent. He is the real deal. And if you're Vanderbilt at the peak of your program's football, history right now, you have to do everything you can to land him. But what I've been hearing, in fact, one insider told me, hey, Georgia fans should have nothing to worry about. Now, he didn't say they don't have anything. He said they should not have anything to worry about. So we'll see if things kind of transpire after this Vanderbilt visit. But I would be very, very surprised if Jared Curtis flipped from Georgia to Vanderbilt. Very surprised. I don't want to say shocking because it is recruiting. Anything can happen. They can afford him. They can pay him, and it's local, right? He's in the same city. So I've seen crazier things happen than a 5-star quarterback flip to the local program that happens to be ranked in the top 10. However, I think Vanderbilt is one of the oldest teams in the country as far as like age and veterans. They're going to take a step back when they lose their quarterback and lose a lot of key members of this team. So I think this is the year where they really need to make the playoffs. Next year, they can tell Jared Curtis, hey, you can come start for us. You come start for us at Vanderbilt, SEC program. That doesn't mean it's going to work out. None of that really matters. We went up to Nashville to meet with people close to Jared, and if you're on Dawg Post, if you've been reading the stories that we wrote about him, you know who we're talking about, right? Our job is to connect with people closest to these big-time prospects, and from the conversations we had in August, and still, they cannot wait for Jared to play for Mike Bobo and this Georgia offense. They love Kirby Smart. They love Coach Bobo. They love Athens. They love the situation that Jared would be walking into. It's a winning program. And they know that Mike Bobo can and probably will get the most out of Jared Curtis. I know a lot of Georgia fans are just rolling their eyes. They don't believe in any of that. But I'm telling you right now, they love Mike Bobo, Kirby Smart, in the Georgia program. They decommitted once, then took those visits, and then he recommitted to Georgia. That was supposed to be it, and I still think it is. Now, the visit to Vanderbilt has to be on Mike Bobo's mind. I mean, if you're 100, 1,000% committed, you're not visiting anywhere. However, it's right down the street. Game day's in town. They're doing everything they can to do one little last pitch. So I think it's more of a, okay, you really want us to take a visit, so we will. We'll check it out. But I still think that it's going to take a lot, probably too much for Vanderbilt, the Commodores, to flip Jared Curtis, a 5-star Georgia back, away from Georgia, where he has had a relationship with this staff and these coaches for a long time. They've taken many visits to Athens. They're very comfortable there. They're all in, and I still think they are. But Mike Bobo went to check on Jared Curtis on Friday night. That's the point I'm trying to make. And he threw 6 touchdown passes. This guy is legit. He is one of the best high school quarterbacks I have ever seen. With my own 2 eyes. And I've been doing this for over a decade. I've seen some of the very, very best ever to play in the state of Georgia and across the country. Jared Curtis is right up there in that conversation as one of the best. So he will be at Vanderbilt today, still committed to Georgia. Again, Nashville on Saturday. I think he'll be in Athens in December. So, but that's where Mike Bobo was. Kirby Smart was in Cobb County, Marietta, to watch 4-star wide receiver Craig Dandridge take on the mighty Kell Longhorns. Now, Dandridge, I think, had a strong day. I don't think he scored, but he did make some plays. But Cambridge lost, kind of significantly by 20, 30 points to Kell. But Kirby Smart was there checking out Craig Dandridge, a guy that I've been talking to y'all about for a long, long time. Don't look at his ranking. It is way too low. It is criminally low. This kid can run, he can jump, he can catch. You just watch him play. He's so smooth. He gets open. He's a great route runner. He floats in the air. He's a really good athlete. When he jumps, he kind of stays up there a little bit and can snatch the ball out of the air. Good body control. He gets his foot down inbounds. He can work the sideline. He can stretch the field. He's great in the screen game. Not the biggest guy, about 6'1", probably 185-ish, 190 around there, but he is a really good player. He's a natural pass catcher and a guy that I think should have a nice career in Athens. So Kirby Smart was there checking on him. And Stacey Searles, offensive line coach, who's doing a great job, by the way, with this group that has been banged up all year long. They're mixing and matching. They're still running through teams, and they had their best game of the season against a bad Ole Miss team. I'm not going to pretend like they just ran through and the offensive line was dominant against a good Ole Miss defense. It's not good, but they did their job. Anyway, he offered a 3-star Tyreek Jemison. I believe last week during the Ole Miss game, I think is when he put that offer out. But Stacey Searles went to go watch him play. It was an overtime win. I don't know who won between Pebblebrook and Paulding County where Jemison plays, but this is a big kid, 6'5", 330. He's got a big old behind. He's a big waist and big lower body. He's got a dump truck back there, and that's what you want with an offensive lineman. He plays with a big old base. He's strong, but that lower body, man, he turns around, he'll knock you out of the way with that behind he's got. But he's a great kid. I've known him for a couple years. I wrote about him for another outlet as like an under-the-radar guy. Started picking up offers about a year ago. Eventually committed to Kentucky. Backed off that commitment. Now he's got a Georgia offer. And I think Georgia's probably the team to beat. Again, 6'5", 330. Really nice kid. Was thrilled to get that offer. And it looks like it is a committable one as Stacey Searles went to go watch the kid play on Friday night. So definitely a guy to keep an eye on. They have a handful of offensive line commitments. It's not an elite class by any means, but it's guys who love Georgia. Zach Lewis, a 3-star from North Gwinnett, loves Georgia. Psyche Helton, a 3-star from Carrollton, absolutely loves Georgia. And I think Jemison has that same type of feel. In-state kid, Paulding County, kind of small town out there in Dallas, but this was a big offer. Definitely got to keep an eye on, especially with Stacey Searles going to watch him play. Just another note, 4-star running back Jay Lamar out of Colquitt County, Georgia's only running back commit right now. He's one of the best, not only in the state, but across the South. Brief suspension from Colquitt County for, it feels like 2-3 weeks. I don't know if he missed a couple games. Maybe it was just one. Could have been 2, but he was back in action, so it wasn't a long-term suspension, but he was with the team. Ran for over 120 yards, 2 touchdowns for Colquitt County. Big win over Camden County. So just a quick little note there, but he's back with his team. He's running hard. I saw him take on North Gwinnett. There were 2 Georgia commits in that game. Zachary Lewis, the offensive lineman from North Gwinnett. Good player, solid 3-star, plays with toughness, heart, and effort. And then Jay Lamar, he ran for a little over 100 yards in that game, but he is tough to tackle. He's physical, but he's a shifty runner for 205, 210 pounds. But it was good to see him back with his team, running hard, having a really nice game. So, of course, you can read all of this for free, by the way, over on dawgpost.com right now. So make sure you are heading over to the website. It's still, we're like the Georgia staff, basically. It's not a game day, but it's still a work day, so we want to give out all the information we can. And the big news this week, 5-star quarterback Jared Curtis visiting Vanderbilt right down the road. If they were 2 hours, 3 hours away, I don't think we'd even be talking about anything. But right down the road, I guess I get it. Still committed to Georgia, and I've been told that it would still take a lot for him to flip away from Mike Bobo and the Georgia Bulldogs. But I guess if anyone has a slight chance, it is Vanderbilt with a whole lot of money right down the street, playing as well as they have ever played, and as long as they've been playing football. So really good coaching staff. They're going to take a step back next year because they're just losing so many guys, but they're also saying, hey, you could be our quarterback day one. If you go to Athens, you might have to wait a couple years. As good as you are, they're not playing any true freshman at quarterback anytime soon. Jake Fromm might be the last to ever do it in the Kirby Smart era. So, he still has a big decision to make, but it's coming up. Raiola did it at the last minute. We'll see what happens, but I still expect to see Jared Curtis signing with Georgia and being in Athens in December when the time comes. So thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. You can read more about this for free over on dawgpost.com. I'll see you over on the website.